Hello, everyone. Welcome to Midweek Gaming. I'm Nick over on the other side of the comms, of course. Justin providing commentary and side gameplay where necessary and wherever he wants to, because let's be honest, even if I would try to stop him, he would not anyway. So,
Yes.
happy Solstice, everyone. Um, as you can probably tell by my happy intro, we are doing Solstice stuff. I thought we'd do something a bit simpler this week and just talk about the Solstice, like in Destiny in general, because Solstice has just happened in Destiny, and we are in that time. Of course, we could talk about several other things. We could talk about the potential new subclass that got leaked. We could talk about this. We could talk about that. We can talk about the fact that here it's been confirmed that the radio message at the end of this season featuring Zavala was the last recording that Lance Reddick did, which means we're officially out of Lance Reddick material, which means we're officially having to cross the bridge of what now? But, 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 I thought we'd focus primarily on happy stuff this week.
Happy, happy, happy.
Okay, now you're just making it sound creepy.
Well, that's the literal point of that song, so you know.
So you're trying to undercut my ideas here. You're just like, let's focus on happy stuff. Happy. Okay.
You're asking the emo hunter why he's making things emo.
Creepy, not emo, but hey, you want to bring emo stuff
both are
too,
both are intersected with one another all the time. Don't worry about it.
So, what's the better way to celebrate Solstice, methinks, than to run a bonfire? Right? Right. So, bonfire stuff this week is same as always, as it has been for the last several years, Bonfire Bash. Though this time, because Amanda is gone, obviously, because the whole business was season of the Lost, we've got two new characters doing the voices over the Bonfire Bash, and that is Saint and Saladin. And
Interesting.
it's interesting dialogue between those two, because here are two very old Titans. Well, I don't want to say Titan. In Saladin's case, he kind of predates the class system when it comes to guardianhood, so to speak. He predates the whole concept of guardians, too, but that's beside the point.
The original.
Let's just say two very old light bearers, and in Saint's case, an actual Titan.
Yeah, real quick, does Saladin consider himself a Titan?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think ever in the lore he refers to himself as a Titan.
He just refers to himself as
a light bearer, as a guardian, but never as a Titan. And obviously as an Iron Lord, but never as a Titan. I think he's in the same spot where Drifter is, where because they predate the Guardian class system, they've just never really distinguished.
They don't see themselves as something.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Saladin very clearly fits into the mold of a Titan, but his powers don't really line up with a Titan. His power, I think, is to, instead of conjuring a giant hammer, conjuring a giant, flaming axe, which is the Iron Lord axe, so... I don't know.
And kind of proof that technically you're not limited in what you can create, you're just gameplay.
Yeah, no, it's basically just gameplay. Lore-wise, for those who don't know, technically there's nothing stopping a Warlock from doing Hunter stuff, and vice versa, and
it just comes down to what you know about it and how to do it.
Yeah, it just basically comes...
someone just has to teach you how to do it.
Yeah, it just has to teach you how to do it, and it's literally even brought up in the lore. Some people know how to do it, they just don't because of taste. Warlocks are known for floating everywhere, and that's just kind of a snooty thing they do to the other classes.
Proceeds to float into pit.
Yeah. I'm flexing on all of you right now. But anyways, on the side note, though, it's kind of funny to hear Saladin and Saint go over with the Bonfire Bash, because you get this very, difference of tone. You got Saladin here, who's always very serious and always very strict when it comes to things. And then you've got Saint, who's just like, yes, kill them all!
Yes, Guardian, I am very pleased to see you here. You are doing very good work.
Yeah, it's you got Saladin who's just toss the ball on the fire, and then Saint's have fun with it.
Use your crucible magic, Guardian. You've learned how to do this already.
Honestly, like I've heard one bit of dialogue where it's like Saladin gives like this very inspiring bit of dialogue where it's like, tomorrow can surprise you, and then he just immediately chimes in. He's like, Saint, stop looking at me like that. What? That was very. That was very. What was the word he used? That was very moving.
Inspiring. Very moving.
Very moving. So it is really funny to see them like this dialogue, and plus, like I said, it does kind of change things up because for so long it's always been Amanda Holiday, and I don't remember who else actually.
I
know
think
Amanda
Crow
Holiday used to do
maybe
the
did it at one point.
I don't know honestly. I don't think about it. Maybe he might have. Thunder Crush. Well, no, that's a night thing. Storm Trance.
I was gonna say Thunder Crash. Wait a minute.
I just see it. Oh, Warlock suddenly Thunder Crash. It'd be like, concern. Concern intensifies.
Question. Oh, that was fucking sick, bro. Sick tricks. Go up the fucking cannon, throw the ball along the way.
Go long. But yeah. Solstice. How do we generally celebrate Solstice? By mass murdering people.
Yep.
So.
People decide to come over to the Solstice area, so because of that, they die.
They die.
They perish.
It's nothing personal. It's just we really like doing these things.
Yeah, like you should know by now not to come over here, but they keep coming over here, so because of that, it's their fault at this point.
Also, may I just say, I'm hoping to God that sometime in Destiny's universe we don't actually ever get a war crimes charges because...
I mean, do war crimes really count to something that's technically already been dead for who knows how long?
I mean, if you ask the Nazis of World War II, yes, because they got brought up on war crimes for all the Jews that they, unalived.
No, I'm referring to the fact that we're technically walking corpses.
Oh, yeah, because technically we do still exist.
Hmm.
I mean, we do have Guardian Prison. That is a thing. That has been confirmed.
Yeah, let me just break out of Guardian Prison real quick. Hold on.
It's literally like max security prison.
Nah, don't worry about it. We Guardians, we got this. All you gotta do is just use a little space wizardry is all.
Like, if you, for anyone who's actually read the not the Solstice lore, the, Trials of Osiris lore, you know that there is Guardian Prison, and we actually get to see how that kind of functions. With a Guardian kind of separated from their ghost and just kind of sitting in a prison cell. Well, I struggle to say prison cell. It's basically a giant pit of iron and steel that is like thousands of feet thick, I imagine. But yeah, no, it's interesting.
Oh, hey, I didn't realize you could do that.
What?
You don't actually have to run around with the ball. You can just throw it in the general direction of the fire and it will just travel there.
Oh yeah, no, if you throw it like at a decent enough distance away, it'll kind of track to the fire. Which is nice. The Taken.
What Taken?
Yeah, no, what Taken immediately destroys everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin mentality.
Oi, I am literally the equivalent of a Titan, only Hunter. We jump. We Spider-Man.
Are we the only ones here?
Yeah, well, I'm wondering what you're doing because you're being quiet.
He's not talking, he's doing something.
It's like, that's normally my thing, what are you doing? I'm normally the quiet one.
I was dealing with some people over here.
I see.
The problem is, guys, I'm playing on my laptop, which for some reason over the last few months has been having lagging issues when it comes to Destiny. Not like obscene amounts of lag, I can still play, but it can be a bit of a pain sometimes. And can on occasion lead to some pretty funny moments, but that's the point. I see the world in slow motion. Warlock magic.
See the world in images of afterthought.
It's the power of Strand, ladies and gentlemen. I see the world in after images.
It is but waves.
It is but waves. I see the world in waves of motion. But anyways, Solstice this year is pretty much the same as last year. They introduced a new weapon though, a Strand rocket launcher, which I have yet to get. But it looks pretty decent enough. And may be pretty nasty if it has the perks that I think it may have. Ah, shit! My thing did not get high enough.
It will not be enough. No fire burns hotter. Bring this to a close.
Like I said, it's always funny to see the dichotomy of Saladin and Saint's, like, way of speaking. You got Saint, who's just, like, the encouraging one, and then you got Saladin, who's just, like, the military general. What's your chances, do you think, that they'll feature heavily in next season? Like, obviously, I think Saint will feature heavily in next season.
Yeah,
with,
Saint 100%,
Savathun.
but
But what do you think about Saladin?
maybe.
Maybe.
Not a guarantee, though.
That brings us, like I said, to an interesting point. I do remember hearing that it was confirmed that the radio message we get at the end of this season of the Deep, featuring Zavala, was Lance Reddick's last recorded voice line. So we are officially out of Lance Reddick material. Which wouldn't be a problem, except, you know, he's kind of dead, which is very tragic.
Yep.
So,
there's that.
this raises a very interesting question.
The fire rises anew, like the phoenix.
Will we recast him, or will we just write him off, so to speak? What do you think?
Don't know.
Like, ooh, got that rocket launcher finally. Speaking of, but
Hello, help me.
what did you do?
I discovered an interesting thing. Let me go pick up loot. Come over here. Look at this. Look at this.
I'm coming.
Too late. Never mind. The timer ran out. I discovered that you can launch yourself from cannon, but no matter what, cannon will take you to the destination you're supposed to go to.
Don't you know Cabal cannons do that? Did you just glue into that now?
Well, no, that's the thing. I used Strand, and at first I thought, okay, this is going to work. And then immediately I kept going in the direction I originally was going. And I thought, oh no.
Oh no.
I'm in danger.
But yeah, that's Solstice. But like I said, it does raise an interesting question. What becomes of it now? Like I said, we're out of material from Lance Reddick, so what will happen in future seasons? Will they write him off? Will they bring his character to a kind of retired state? It's kind of funny that I say that, because if you actually play some of the more recent lore, or some of the more recent missions from this season, you actually get a bit of dialogue between Zavala and
I'm pretty sure it's Zavala.
Clone.
Well,
Where she's like, "You're getting a bit old. You know, maybe you should find a replacement to run missions."
yeah,
And I'm like,
no.
that feels almost awkward.
Zavala has like conversations with at least 2 or 3 people going and basically talking, like hinting towards retirement.
Yeah. So it's like, a part of me kind of wonders if this all kind of, the reason Bungie seems so calm about the whole thing, and not like, oh crud, we just lost our key character, is that it kind of was planned. This might have just played out rather well.
And this kind of plays into like this weird, like really uber weird, like, is this some kind of conspiracy theory? Like, what the hell's going on?
But
Why does this feel planned? The timing is terrible, and it it's good at the same time.
Yeah,
Like it's a
on
terrible
one
good.
hand, it really plays out well for Bungie because, like I said, I don't think we talked about it before on the stream, but we've talked about it personally, Justin and me. We've wondered, why has Bungie been like? Don't get me wrong. I think sometime last season they put a thing in game where it's like, in memory of Lance Reddick for all the work he did, so on and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
A bit of epitaph to him. But outside of that, like, when you discount his, he was a big factor in the game and he's also the voice of Commander Zavala, who is probably one of the most, I want to say, involved of all the characters in the games. And again, that kind of goes back to the point that Lance himself really enjoyed what he did, so he did a lot of it. But now that he's gone, the question of what will happen of Commander Zavala, we all thought, me specifically, that there would be some kind of major response from Bungie about it because, one of their main characters truly did die. So, but when you factor in the voice lines from Zavala this season, hinting at the idea of retirement and everything else, you kind of have to wonder, was Bungie's calm response because in a way this kind of works in their favor in a twisted way? Like, they probably planned to potentially retire off Zavala, and then Lance Reddick's death kind of maybe furthered that discussion on to a very likely to a definitely.
Yeah.
Like, it's possible there were discussions in the boardroom of the story team over at Bungie. It's like, should we retire Zavala? It's kind of been alluded to that maybe his, the strain of war is getting to him and he wants to step down from his position. And it's kind of this whole, it's kind of like the Amanda Crow relationship. It's a will they won't they scenario here with will he retire, will he not? And then Lance Reddick's death is like, okay, now, yeah, we'll go with it. They might have been playing with that story thread, and now they might go through with it. I say might because, like I said, this is game development, and as much as I think it would be nice if they did that, I also do not want to see the commander get sidelined as a character, because I like his character.
Mm-hmm.
So, they could still just recast him. I don't know how that would go down, because even factoring in, all the stuff to do with how Lance Reddick kind of made that character his own, he also had a very distinct voice. Like, they got lucky with people like
it's gonna
Cade.
it's gonna be interesting to figure out what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah, they kind of got lucky with Cade, where Nolan North has always kind of been acting as a filler in the games industry for Nolan North, for Nathan Fillion for a long time now. So it was a well-known fact that if you can't get one, you can get the other, and they sound pretty much the same. But when it comes to Lance Reddick, I don't know. That seems like a bit tougher slot to fill in, so to speak.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like I said. Anyways, back to Solstice at large. It seems interesting. Let's see here.
It seems interesting.
Yeah, no. Let me finish my comment before you minutes. All in all, though, Solstice is Solstice. We got new armor, a new rocket launcher, which you can kind of see me showing off on my back right now. Justin wants to go over to my character and inspect. He can kind of inspect the rocket launcher.
No pre-warning, just go.
Just go. I'm just giving him a suggestion. I didn't say he had to. But, honestly, I like the look of the rocket launcher. It looks very in line with Solstice. I also like the kind of like mini sun they've got going on here on the end. And it has lore, which I always approve of.
It has lore.
Lore. Featuring an interesting conversation between Shaxx and Saladin, interestingly enough, where Saladin finally admits that the whole business at Twilight Gap, Saladin was right for doing that. long story short, basically, Saladin ordered a retreat that may have cost the city way back in the day, and Shaxx was like, now we're staying. And that saved the city. And Saladin has never admitted to the idea that that was the right call and just kind of became angry at Shaxx ever since then. But in the lore tab,
But angry at
Saladin takes over.
Shaxx for going and saying we stay.
Well, yeah, because basically the story goes that Saladin was put in charge of the city's defense, and Shaxx was running one of the field commanders, right, so to
Hmm.
speak. And at the end, the battle looked very bad, so Saladin called a retreat of the last city and just kind of left it go. And Shaxx was like, "Nah, we are staying." And him and his fire team, which included, interestingly enough, Anna Bray and a few other big names, stayed. And by doing that, they actually bought enough time to reinforce, and that saved the city. Because otherwise, they would have gone through with the retreat plan that would have given the city up to the Fallen. So, and that was a whole battle of 6 fronts. So, because of that, Saladin always kind of held a chip on his shoulder towards Shaxx for defying him, because, fun fact, Shaxx was also one of the apprentices of Saladin along with Zavala. Though I don't believe that's as much talked about in the lore. I believe that was talked about at one point. But I believe they were kind of, if not apprentices, at the very least friends. And after that, they had a massive falling out, and Saladin's always had a chip on his shoulder for defying him to this day, being the prideful guy that he is. And in the lore tab for the rocket launcher, Saladin finally comes over and is like, "Yeah, you were right." And we've known that for a long time. I've just never admitted that.
Huh.
And it's kind of funny because in the end, Shaxx makes this comment, because you can see him like almost like choking on his own words, because he's like, "Did he just admit I'm right? Someone get that a recording."
Ghost, please tell me you recorded that.
Yeah, no. And in the end, Shaxx is like, I had a ton of scathing remarks prepared for this moment, because he was honestly expecting Saladin to still be like, "You did the wrong thing. You should have followed my orders." Da, 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 da. But instead, he's like, "Nah, you did the right thing."
Bruh.
It's also funny because there's also, again, a kind of soft hint towards Lightfall, because Saladin says, "I want to tell you that before," and he kind of cuts himself off, and Shaxx is like, "Before the end?" And Saladin's like, "Before whatever comes next."
Bruh. They know.
So,
They know.
they know. They know.
They know what's coming.
Now, if only we did. But, yeah, no. So, it is that kind of idea that we still don't know what happens after Lightfall. As far as we know, there is no expansions beyond Lightfall, because that's all we've had confirmed so far. The showcase on the 22nd will probably be interesting. Like I said, we've talked about rumors that there may be another subclass. Maybe.
Maybe.
Generally, it's a new subclass every 2 years, but considering that the next season will be the end of the Light and Darkness saga, it makes sense that
Well,
they break the
wasn't.
trend and
Well,
kind of
real
get it
quick,
all out.
wasn't Witch Queen supposed to be a new subclass?
That is more of a on the wall theory than ever confirmed. They never confirmed that it was going to be a new subclass. That was just kind of the theory that formed in the after
But
effect
no,
of.
wouldn't Witch Queen be like the every 2 years thing?
Not really, because we had one in Beyond Light, and then that led into Witch Queen.
Yeah, right.
So, not really. That the whole theory that there was going to be a new subclass in Lightfall, specifically Strand, was a theory that formed after, I think, Lightfall, and we got the Deep Sight, and I think it was even it formed after Lightfall, and everyone looked at Deep Sight, looked at the Veil, looked at Strand, and said they all kind of have to do with memory and consciousness. So the theory kind of formed, and there were some rumors going around as well that it was originally planned that Deep Sight and Strand would come together, which makes sense if you know how those powers work, all being based off consciousness and memory. And so it makes sense that they would ship together. Then there was also rumors going on that was originally the plan, but stuff happened. They pushed Deep Sight forward into Witch Queen, and they pushed Strand back into Lightfall, and those came separately. But yeah, that's where that kind of theory comes from.
There you
There's
go.
a lot of theories that came after Lightfall's release. I think we can all just kind of agree to that.
A lot
A
of
lot of
questions,
them
not a lot of
not good.
answers.
A lot of them not good, and I don't mean as in not good as in they aren't potentially valid. I mean not good as in they don't really paint Lightfall in a very good light, nor Bungie for that matter. But that's beside the point. So, what to do now?
Oh, what now, Mr.
What now, children?
Guy who's leading fire team?
Hey! I'm posing the question to you as well. You can give contribution if you want to.
Well, what now is the preparation for the final shape, which is...
Okay, he's useless.
What do you mean? Literally, I was about to
I
say
mean,
something
as in
and you
what to
cut
do
me.
right now, as in like what to do now. Like, do you want
Well,
to go on a strike? You want to go back in the Solstice thing?
well, we are almost 30 minutes in.
So we'll cut it here. Let's do a bit more wrap up, and we'll cut it here for the sake of a short episode. So yeah, as you said, we're preparing for the final shape. There's going to be a showcase that they're showing off the big stuff for, kind of what they did with the big reveal for Lightfall last year, and that'll be next month on the 22nd. You can bet your bottom dollar I'll be tuning into that. Justin may be tuning into that, depending on how things shape up. Maybe we'll live stream it. I only say that maybe because the last time we tried to do a major live stream event, we actually got copyrights claimed. Not strike, mind you, claimed.
The
And in
video
the
didn't
most
go anywhere.
weird way possible.
Yeah,
Like,
it didn't
we
even go
streamed-
anywhere.
Yeah, we streamed the Game Awards for those who don't know, and we got copyright claimed. Not by the Game Awards or any of the big gaming companies. No. But by the record company over at, I think, Universal for showing the Mario movie trailer.
Yeah, the very
Which they were
trailer
involved.
that not
very
only
trailer.
everyone had seen,
That everyone was seeing live
that
and also reacting to.
Yeah, like everyone was seeing live. Everyone knows they've plastered it anywhere and everywhere, and you're telling me that you don't want people to see that?
Again, that.
YouTube,
discussed it in-
explain why
we
are you
discussed it amongst-
submitting a suppression of that?
We discussed it together amongst ourselves, and we thought at the end, just leave it. No, not worth fighting it.
Mm.
It just goes to show that record companies are totalitarian, and if you go near anywhere, or not totalitarian, territorial as all hell, and if you go anywhere near their music, they will immediately shoot you down with like an AA gun.
Yeah. So that's kind of why during live streams and stuff you want to have it like on a low volume and basically prepared to mute it at any time.
Yeah, and I think it'll be safe because Bungie's a lot more tame when it comes to those things, and we won't be getting any record companies that'll be bothering us. So I think it'll be safe to stream that if we choose to do that. Again, if we choose to. But like I said, we'll have to discuss that amongst ourselves. And
if we
see
are
if it's
capable of
possible.
doing so in the first place.
Yeah,
That's why it's a maybe right now. It's not a guarantee.
that's why it's a maybe. Right? Between scheduling and if it's even technically possible, we've got stuff that goes on. We'll see. But anyways, so yeah, we will see during Lightfall, or not Lightfall, the final shape showcase, what kind of goes on. Maybe Savathun might play a role in that too, because
No,
she's gonna
Savathun's
help us
going
get
to
the
be.
portal.
Yeah, Savathun's definitely going to be playing a role. If not next
Can you
season, the season following.
Yeah, no. Well, no, definitely next season, because next season is going to be all about getting through the learning how to get through the portal. Which, for those who don't know, which if you haven't at this point, click off now and go play the story missions for the
5,
seasons up until the end.
4, 3, 2, 1. You've been
Okay.
warned.
Yeah, you've been warned. You can click off and come back. Basically, the final cutscene of Season of the Deep basically has Asa, the giant worm thing in the sea, proto-worm thing, tell us, through Sloane, that the Witch Queen needs to come back because she's the only one who knows how to get through the portal to follow the witness. There, I said it. So, next season, we'll be bringing back Savathun. Fun!
Yes.
And that'll involve a deal with Amaru, most likely, because it's been said that tricking him just won't work, so it'll be some kind of deal. So we'll be bringing her back next season, and Bungie's already confirmed that she won't play as much of a role as she did prior, like as in before her death. But I mean, come on, it's Abathur. And again, this kind of goes into what Astacross said over on his channel, where I agree with what he said, where, it would be nice if characters kind of played a role similar to the intensity and gravitas they did before they died. Like, he thinks Marasov has kind of always been a doormat ever since she came back to life after Forsaken, or during the events of Season of the Lost. I don't know how much I agree with that. I can certainly see the point, but I don't know if I'd fully agree, but I can certainly see his point. I want Savathek to come back as much as the next guy. She was a very fun character and always very interesting to have around because she always introduced an era of uncertainty into the story, but we'll see.
Yep.
I mean, she's definitely coming back next season. That is confirmed, but to what extent a role she will play and how big a role that will be, we'll just have to wait and see. Bungie said it's not going to be as big, but we don't know to what extent that means when they say big.
Yeah, what do
But
they
anyways.
mean by big?
And how exactly she'll help us get through the portal, but that'll be the next season's story plot, I presume. So, that wraps it up. We talked about Solstice, we talked about the unfortunate facts surrounding Lance Reddick's death and where that might lead us. We've talked about Lightfall, we talked about the showcase, we've talked about next season stuff somewhat. Yeah, we've covered way more than I thought we would this episode. And all with under 40 minutes. How
There you
about
go.
that? So, any final words, Justin?
Nope, I'm good.
Alright then. I shall find you somewhere. There you are.
Hello there.
And,
We will
I
go
shall...
over here. Actually, Space Grandma or Zavala?
Nah, it doesn't matter. We can just do it here.
Hey.
And I shall raise a toast to Solstice and... Yeah, and he's just going Super Saiyan over there. But, and to Solstice and to everything around it. From all of us here at Midweek, have a happy summer. See you next week. And, yeah. Bye-bye!